And he's got way too much time on his hands because he's trawled through footage with
a proper
funny geezer, man.
Right. I haven't had a notification yet.
No, I have. I've just had it on Facebook.
Have you just got it? Yeah, I've just got it now. Just got it now. There we go. And good evening and welcome to episode 83 of Endless Banter. We are 17 episodes away from 100 episodes. I never thought we'd get to this far, Paul. I never thought we'd get this far. But we've carried on, we've cracked on, and we've done it. I think we've probably missed
lots of people have fallen by the wayside in that time, Mr. Wood.
I think we've missed probably about 3 weeks out of the whole 83 weeks we've been doing the show. We've probably missed 3 weeks.
I've missed a few weeks, but you've played on and done it in my absence most of the time.
Yeah. I think we've missed about 3 weeks. Good evening to everybody in chat. If you could like and you could share this for us, and if you want to do a watch party, you are more than welcome to do this. Evening to everybody on YouTube who's also watching. So as always, Paul, how's your week been? What you have for tea? What you vaping? What you drinking? And how are you in general?
Just mad busy at work. So I've had people like Joe trying to get hold of me, and I still haven't phoned that fucker back actually thinking about it. On the video. I've been busy. I've been really busy with various things. Work's busy. We've had some issues this week which we've hopefully resolved. And we've had some talk of ordering Teslas, which is all good.
It's finally coming to fruition where you've had many fucking live feeds.
I'm hoping for 6th of April delivery.
6th of April. We've had many of the live feeds in your car talking about the day you'll be driving a Tesla, and fingers crossed that day will be coming soon. Are you excited? Are you really excited?
You know what? It's been like 18 months since I had that one on test drive, and I can't remember. But I was talking to, I don't know, it might have been Billy I was talking to last week, and I was saying that, without sounding all pretend, I've had some fast cars, but I've never had nothing that I never got used to fairly quickly. So no matter how quick it was when I bought it, within 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes I'm a bit like, I don't know if there's something wrong with the gearbox or something wrong with the turbo or something wrong with it, just don't feel the same. But you get a passenger and they're like, fuck you know, because you just get used to what I was saying. I don't know whether you could ever get used to the power that Tesla delivers on the P100D. And I don't think you could, honestly. Like I said before, I borrowed James's Lamborghini Urus for Billy's prom. Fast car, it's not that much dissimilar in speed to the Tesla. Sounds awesome, but it's still not the same power delivery as that. Because the Tesla's got no gear change, and it's just once it's going, it's just next level crazy. And honestly, I had it for 24 hours, and not one person sat in that car under acceleration and never went, oh, fuck it out, because it's like, I swear it's mad. It's crazy. So I'm excited to get it. I'm excited to have a fuck about with the technologies. There's various updates on the car, and we'll see if it comes. Hopefully, I'll get it for April.
You're gonna have another test drive of another one before you get it, though. You're gonna remind yourself.
I'm gonna try and see if I can get me and the MD one to have a play.
Yeah, you definitely need another one to remind yourself. So when you get the arse, you're like, yeah, actually, yeah, I'll respect this.
So work at work's been busy. For my tea, I had poached cod, baked potato, boiled potatoes and peas. I'm drinking a cup of tea and I'm also drinking some cherry Pepsi Max. And I'm vaping the Komodo with the K-Fun Light 2019 with some bloodsucker 12 milligram.
Sweet.
At 12 watts, because I can't do 12.1 watts because it fucks about with my fucking OCD. From the day that I've ever vaped, I've always vaped in whole numbers.
You've got to round up. Always round up. You can't do that. 12.4.
Nah.
All I'm saying is don't leave your mother around me anymore because it's going to go like 12.4.
Now, you know what, I swear, I'd rather change my coil. To get 12 watts or 30. I don't even like 12.4. If I turn my television on, I turn it up to like even numbers and shit, like 24.
You can't miss.
I'm just have 28 because I'm like 28, 30. That much difference.
Yeah, but the question is, the mad question is, can you actually tell when it's like if I, for instance, to go over it later and just press it a few times so it'd be like 12.3, would you be able to tell like what would you be like, fucking it's different this?
You know what, to be honest, this coil genuinely actually sits perfect with 12 watts. So on this one I've got, it's touchscreen, you have to fucking piss about swiping down. And you swipe down and the arrow comes and it unlocks. And if I flick up from the bottom, it changes it to soft, normal and hard setting. So it's still 12 watts, but it's probably, I mean, it says it's 12 watts. If I put it on soft, I have to take it up to 16 watts.
Right.
So even though it's touchscreen and even though you have to swipe that, and actually, mate, when I'm trying to unlock it, it's next to impossible. Right? I've never been able to do these very well. But I can sit in the office, and if I'm spinning it round, I get to vape it, and I'm like, what the fuck, my batteries are flat on it. I've changed it to soft. or once you've opened it, the swipe actually change to temperature control, to this, to that. And I've found so many times I've unlocked it without knowing and changed the settings. And when I want to change it, I ain't got a fucking clue how to do it.
You know, like the hard, the medium, the soft. In it where it ramps, so like if it's on soft, it like ramps up slowly.
Yeah, but it's like I've got flat batteries. So actually, I was using the SX Dual thing before.
Yeah.
And that's also got soft, medium, hard, or soft, normal, hard. And I just got, on that one, I think I was at 12.5 watts. Might have been at 13. And I was on 13 watts hard.
Someone clip that. Someone clip that. 13 watts hard.
When I got this one, I was like, fucking, I'm going to add that same setting built into the chipset, but it does. Chipset is quality, actually, to be fair. I love it. It's quality. And I got this one. And I re-wicked it on Monday night. And I've literally, I built one coil the first time I used it on the live show. I built it, didn't I, just before we went live. And then I put another coil in it straight after the live show because I got the coil slightly wrong. And that same week, Ollie Deek sent me 6 coils in a little test tube in the post. And I've still got 4 left, and there's 1 in here, and I put 1 in Tasha's. I've never changed the coil. And that went in May last year.
Fucking hell.
Now, I might just be being a right tight cunt. But I feel like the last few times, I've had to re-wick it a bit quick, so I don't know whether but the fuse clapton on it's fire. When I light it up and when I'm cleaning it, it's fucking perfect. There's no hot spots on it, so I'm guessing unless the wires actually physically started to degrade now, which is causing an issue with cotton degrading faster, I don't know. But generally, I'm on June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. We're just getting to nearly 9 months, mate, on the coil. Crazy.
Fucking hell.
But I was expecting 12 months, so I think I might have to go back onto the stinkies, man. I wasn't expecting. I don't actually have to change my coil every 12 months. It's just I might as well just smoke.
Fucking hell, go back on
I've used half a packet of Boss Device cotton and one coil in 12 months. And I might as well just literally smoke 60 fags a day because it's ridiculous.
all that you had is the juice. You had to pay for the juice. That's fucking mint. That 9 months on a coil. That is fucking absolutely crazy. Talking of 9 months on a coil, the first subject I've got here is tips and tricks for new vapors. I want to hear your tips and tricks for new vapors. You said you've had a coil last for 9 months. What's your tips and tricks for new vapors?
My tips and tricks for new vapors is providing you go to a reputable shop, is listen to the advice of the staff, because normally they've tried different devices, they've tried sub-ohm vaping. In all of our cases, we are all ex-smokers, so we've smoked cigarettes and now we're vaping. I don't think genuinely any of my staff are dual using. I think they're all exclusively vaping. And for me, it's about not being guided by fucking knobhead Dave, the truck driver at work, who goes, bro, you need clouds, mate. You need fucking bare clouds. So take some advice from the shop. Don't be obsessed with clouds. Don't be obsessed with vapor production. Be obsessed with getting to a point where you don't feel like you need a cigarette. That's what you're trying to aim to achieve. One of the things that was significant for me when I started vaping on my little vape stick, my little fucking cigarette thing, was how much seeing exhale of smoke, and I say smoking rabbit ears before everyone starts commenting, she's not even smoky, fucking fat prick. The psychological thing for me of seeing that smoke come out of my mouth, the throaty. I said last week on the show I was using the menthol cartridges because they came with the kit and I really enjoyed them, but I was really panicky about not having a tobacco flavour. And one of the things that I'll say to every customer that I sell a starter kit to is, even if you didn't like menthol cigarettes, give menthol liquid of some nature a try. Something that, because for me, a straight menthol is absolute to smoking a consulate. So carry a spare battery, have spare coils.
Yeah.
Once you start to save a little bit of money, have a kit in the car, have a kit at the office, have a kit at the house, have a kit that you use. Don't ever be somewhere where you go, oh, yeah, fucking go bought my vape kit, man. I might as well just buy 20 cigarettes. Because for every 20 cigarettes you buy, or for every 40 cigarettes you can buy, pretty much you could buy a second kit.
Yeah.
So don't jump in balls deep with the most expensive kit unless you've got plenty of dough and it doesn't matter too well. Don't be, and certainly with today's modern devices, don't be thinking that a £20 kit is necessarily not going to be as vape as well as a £70 kit, because by and large, and I say by and large because there's still some shit out there, by and large, most shops are stocking reputable products that don't leak like they used to leak. The colours are much, much better. The quality of the liquid is much, much better. The quality of the vape is much, much better. The only thing that hasn't improved for me in all the time, I say the only thing that hasn't improved. No, actually, the only thing that hasn't improved, because everything else for me has improved, is battery technology. So I was using, and let me just go and fetch it 1 second.
Good evening, Arthur. I always know you want a shout out when you're in the chat. So good evening, Mr. Arthur Wenker Jr. Let's see what magic Paul's going to bring us.
So I picked up one of these bad boys in the week. The Aspire T-Gun, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Fucking quality. $24.99. It's got a pod system that you unscrew, rubber bung, stick it in there. Pushing coil, 0.7 mesh put. Drop your pod back on, lock it through, locks into place. You've got that button on the front there, which is your AFC, so you slide it down and slide it up. But that is like That's never going to change. It might look like it'll change your airflow, but literally where you set it is where it will stay. My only gripe, I don't know if you can just see the little arrow to denote more or less airflow. Let me just.
Yeah, like a line.
Yeah, so that's fully open. And it's more than a restricted long kit. And fully closed is probably just not enough for me. But I haven't used it for a couple of days, to be fair, because I've been using that. But I've been using it. Genuinely, the batteries, I don't know. You tell me what the batteries, Tom. You listed it on the website.
I think it's 900, isn't it?
I feel like it's more than that. Let me have a look. I think it might be 1100 or 1150. Aspire battery. 1300 mAh.
Yeah.
So it's a 1300 mAh battery. Coil, wicked flavour. Airflow, for me personally, could be a little bit more restricted. But the weight of this, it feels, knocks all them fucking other shitty Aspire pod systems out, the Breezes and all them, the Aspire AO, the Aspire Nautilus AO and all them. This, for me, is one of the best pod systems I've ever held, ever used. Feels weighty. It feels nice. It is plastic, but it's like a hard plastic. I can't explain. It's not like a fucking. It's like actually they've machined a piece of like Darwin. I don't know if it is Darwin, but it just feels nice and weighty.
What do you think about the mouthpieces on them?
I like these mouthpieces personally.
You do. Yeah, some people do say difference about the mouthpieces, but the kind of the pod system is it wide or is it like? Is it quite wide, the mouthpiece? As in like the air hole where you get the vape come out as well? Is that quite wide? Well, it's not that bad actually.
I don't know if you can see that or not, I don't know.
Yeah, you can just see that.
So actually, it could be that if they made a rubber bun that went into there to restrict the air through it, it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
And make the flow, that's how much I like this mod. I would genuinely fuck about with the airflow to get it right, because the coil on this is fire. Ramp up on it, which is more, I've said for a long time, more perfect ramp up is something that ramps up like a cigarette. There's no double drag in this. I'll go straight off the hit. Forward every time. Pretty much. You get a little bit more out of that because that's more restricted, so I'm getting more of a dense vape when I take it in. But actually, the flavour off that, I would say, is better than the flavour off this. Genuinely, the flavour off the mesh coils, fire. Love it.
Is it a Nautilus? Is it like a BBC mesh?
No, it's pushed. I can't remember what they're called. I can't remember what the coil's called. I've just deleted that tab that I opened as well. Tigon coil. So it takes the legend. It's a Tigon coil. It's obviously why they've called the pod system the Tigon. But actually, the coil genuinely fire. 0.7 mesh. It comes with a 0.7 mesh and 0.4 Burming. I've not tried the 0.4 because I've never used it 0.4. I don't think 0.4 with the 1300 mAh battery makes any sense. With the 2mm pod with high VG liquid just doesn't make sense for me to buy something that fucking vape properly for that style of vaping. But coming back to your issue about tips for vapors is always be prepared like a Cub Scout, but not necessarily a Cub Scout leader because they're in the main paedophiles. One of the things that I done was my pal bought me my kit on a Wednesday, and I just remember it was a Wednesday, and I got online on Wednesday night, and I ordered some stuff off Totally Wicked's website, and it come Friday morning. So Totally Wicked, I had decent service right the way back then, and I got packet of coils, and I got half a dozen bottles of liquid. And then about 3 weeks after that, I bought 2 more spare batteries, and I had one in my car, one in my office, one that I was using, and one in my pocket, so battery, and another one in case I ever dropped it, broke the fucking ego fitting, and I got a smoke spare battery. So be prepared. If you went out to a night out with your pals when you were a smoker, you take fags. And if you don't, you can get some when you're out. Just be mindful of the fact that most vape shops are not open at 10 o'clock at night. Therefore, go out with a spare battery and a spare coil, because your coil could pop at any time, and then you've got to suffer some shitty flavour. So it's just that, really. The biggest thing for me is be prepared, understand your kit, and then also don't be afraid to go back to the vape shop you bought your stuff from and say, I can't get this to work properly, or it's leaking, or this or that, or it's not harsh enough, I'm not getting enough of a hit. And don't be embarrassed to go into a vape shop, because again, any reputable vape shop will gladly talk you through what you're doing, potentially what you might be doing wrong, and sort you out. So
agree with that. So going on to the next section, I've got written down to add into this tips and tricks. Do you think vaping should be more accepted in public domain or treated like smoking? So when I say treated the same as smoking, I mean, like, a lot of places, pubs and stuff, will allow vaping. Do you think they should be allowing vaping, or do you think it should be treated more the same as sort of like banning smoking? You should be outside. You know what I mean?
I'm all for someone allowing vaping indoors, but then I'm also about someone who vapes not being a dickhead.
Yeah.
But one of my pals who's a landlord said to me, and I was a bit like, at the early days, I was a bit that bloke going, you can't even stop me from vaping, you dickhead. It's not even illegal to vape inside. And he says, it's not illegal to vape inside. And actually, he was a vapor himself. He'd stopped smoking, he vaped. He says, but when I've got a pub full of Irish people on a Friday night, and they're not allowed to smoke, and they see you vaping, we end up with people kicking off this because they start lighting up fags, saying, well, if he's all right to use that, I'm smoking a cigarette. So they put a ban across the board just because drunken Irish men get fucking obstropolous when they can't fucking vaping. Even where I've been on holiday and some clubhouses allow you to vape and some don't, I'd never sit there with a sub-ohm device just because I can, because I think it's intrusive. And even when I'm made to lung in a clubhouse where I'm allowed to vape, the same as I vape in a clubhouse where I'm not supposed to be vaping. So I'll try and be as calm or blow it down under the table. I think there's nothing more crude than seeing a vape out walking, and even walking down the street, mate. I think they look like absolute fucking wet quilts. When you see them, they're just walking down on the fucking chuckling out. You never ever walked around town smoking a cigarette like that, you prick.
Yeah.
But who is he expecting 6 girls to run over to him and going, oh, I didn't realise you vaped, mate. Fucking. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't get it, because even if I'm walking around town with a mech, which I used to every day before, I'd have an inhale, I'd blow it down. Sometimes in my just so it weren't fucking clouding everywhere. So I'd never walk through town with a fucking a single mech or a fucking stack mech and fucking chung it out like a dickhead, even if I'm outside, because you look like a dickhead. You might think you look cool, but I'm telling you, there's more people looking at you going wanker than there is going, oh, sick, he's only got a fucking stacked mech mop. So for me, it's about the venue where you're at. It's about the person who's vaping, just using a little bit of common.
Yeah, it's a bit of etiquette, isn't it? At the end of the day, I feel like, because we've seen these challenges and stuff on Facebook groups and that, where people are day to vape in places you're not meant to vape and stuff, but it just makes vapors look like cunts, if I'm honest. In all honesty, that's exactly what it makes us look like. And just have a little bit of etiquette. But I feel like at first, as you said, everyone sort of gets like on their little vaping IOS and they're like, I can do it where I want. It's vaping, it's not smoking. I just sometimes feel like, yeah, it's not smoking, but I feel like we have to treat it in a certain way where it is etiquette.
They're the same people that sit on a bus playing music,
yeah,
thinking that it's literally that sort of annoying fucking dickhead.
You're true. So if you're new to vaping,
£6 Bluetooth speaker that sounds like it's underwater.
Tinny as fuck.
What sort of grown man carries a Bluetooth speaker around with him to play off his phone on the bus? That's why he's on the bus. He's literally got no aspiration. I swear, it's like I don't get people going, yeah, I can vape if I want. And to be honest, mate, even if I'm driving my car and someone gets in that doesn't smoke, I'm not just like, oh, yeah, it's vape, mate, it's safe. Check out public health and start blowing vape in the face. Just because I'm not an arsehole, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It takes all sorts, I guess. Everyone's different. But for me, I just think the vapor does themselves a massive injustice when they vape like pricks.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I agree with that totally. So I did a little bit of number checking today because I read an article today from the website. It's called UK Vape. I'll try to put the link in the description on the YouTube video if anyone wants to see it. And it literally tells you about it. The title of this is How to Be an Eco-Friendly Vapor, right? So it's actually a really good article. It sounds really sort of like saving the planet, saving the world.
I'll be vaping.
You've not got to be a vegan. You've not got to be a vegan. A vegan. Yeah. No, you don't have to be a vegan. You can be a vegan, but not a vegan. So, no, basically, what this website basically is, it's saying about how much waste is used through like cigarettes or like nubs and stuff like that. How much wastage. So, £1.7 billion worth of waste is just done by cigarettes worldwide. That's the waste, 1.7 billion of waste done by cigarettes. So they also said that
1.7 billion what?
Pounds of waste.
Pounds in weight or pounds in money?
I want to say weight. So
that's nearly the equivalent to me and you, Tom.
In nubs. It's like saying, what's 1.7 billion pounds worth of feathers or 1.7 billion pounds of Tom and Paul? It's just the biggest same.
We used to have an ashtray at my mum and dad's when we were kids that I reckon held about 1.2 billion pounds worth of. I can remember in my brother's bedroom, he had an old school roses tin that was an ashtray, the most disgusting, smelly fucking thing in the world. And when you took the lid off, it was like an Ambipure, but in 1983, out of stale cigarettes. It was just vile, disgusting. But when we got back in from the pub as like teenagers, we literally raided this roses jar for the longest nubs to make them roll up. Next level tramp.
So the stats they're saying, Paul, is by 2021 worldwide there will be 55 million vapors worldwide, which is there is a population in the world of 7.6 billion people. So there's only 55 million people worldwide that actually know about vaping or vape, right?
Yeah, and there's also what would you say the population of the world was?
7.6 billion.
So
billion.
Most of them are in China, and they're going to die anyway. Honestly, you got 7.6 billion people.
Yeah,
I'd imagine. I don't know what the world average, the mean average of people dying is, but I'm going to take a stab in the dark at 75 as an average. Most people don't start smoking until they're 16, so that takes out about 20% straight off that obviously aren't going to smoke.
How many smokers do you think are in the world? How many smokers are in the world?
How many smokers in the world? I'm going to say less than 1 billion.
Bang on, 1 billion. 1 billion smokers.
So 1 billion smokers. Yeah, here's a fucking sum for you. To become a millionaire, if you earned £100,000 a year for 10 years and you got no tax and no national insurance taken out, you'd be a millionaire. To become a billionaire, you need to do that for 10,000 years. 1,000 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
because it's 1,000 and it's 1,000 million. Yeah.
10 years to become a millionaire. 10,000.
10,000, yeah, 10,000.
10,000 years to earn the same money to be a billionaire.
Billionaire, yeah.
That's just to put into perspective how much more £1 billion is than £1 million. 1 billion smokers, and we've got what, 55 million?
55 million vapors by 2021. There's an estimated number of vapors now, which is 42 million vapors worldwide. So the number that people are using, and the only way you can get the knowledge of how many people smoke worldwide is by the actual consumption, the actual selling of how many cigarettes are sold. So that could be saying 1 billion, but 1 billion smokers, you can imagine people buy 20, 40, 60 a day. So, and it can be an average of anything. So if you said 1 billion people bought a 20 pack of cigs a day, but not everybody smokes 20 fags. Some of them smoke 20, some of them smoke 40, some smoke 60.
If you say the average consumed daily is 20 cigarettes across the board, that's probably not far wrong.
That's 20 billion cigarettes a day.
20 billion cigarettes a day. It's 1 billion packets. So even if he says a packet of cigarettes, they're turning over £1 billion a day in the industry. But they're probably turning over 3 or 4 or £5 billion. It's crazy.
More than that. More than that. You're probably talking 7, 8 billion a day worldwide.
The actual tobacco companies aren't turning over that. The government's probably earning exactly the same amount. And then that's why vapors get a bad press, because all these people are potentially losing money. But mate, if you say 50 million against 1 billion.
Do you know how much of a percentage that is, though, from worldwide? 55 million is literally like 0.75% worldwide population.
Yeah, but how many? What's the percentage of that of smokers?
20%. 20% of the world smokes. 20% of the world smokes.
Yeah, so 20% of the world smokes. So what I'm saying is, you've got 1 billion vapors, you've got 1 billion smokers, 50 million vapors. 100 million. So it's actually 5%. So 5% of there's 50 million of 1 billion.
Yeah.
So it's still a really shit conversion, isn't it? Still a lot of people out there to be converted.
Yeah. And that's what we're getting. The reason I've brought this up is because obviously smoking has been around for years and years and years. And vaping is probably, I want to say, at a max, and very max, vaping as a total, as we know it, not today, as we know it, it's probably around 12 years.
Yeah.
And as we know it today, as how it is today, it's been around 10 years. Like, vaping properly has been around 10 years. Do you think we're ever going to get to the point where we see 1 billion vapors in the world?
No. I actually don't, genuinely. There's you know what? I can't say never, because obviously there's I don't know what a generation's class as. 20 years, is that a generation?
Yeah, I probably want to say 20 years. Yeah,
I'm going to Google
maybe 10, maybe 10.
Yeah, but you can't have 2 generations in 20 years. That means that, mind you could. I don't know how many years is considered.
30 years.
So actually, they're saying on Google, generation gap is 25.5 years, which must be a mean average of people having kids at 25.5 years old.
Yeah.
So on that basis, there's 4 generations of people on the planet. But to get rid of the last 2 is going to take another 50 years. So within 50 years, you've got the likes of my kids vaping will just be the norm. We've already obviously got people now that, well, my girls don't know any different than us vaping. Billy obviously remembers when I used to smoke. Chloe remembers when I used to smoke. Shanae remembers when I used to smoke, but the girls don't. Emmy and Bobby will never remember me smoking. So to them, vaping becomes the norm.
Mm.
How normal it will become, I don't know. Because, mate, the amount of school kids that you still see smoking is shocking. But you
How do
still
we
see a
make it a
huge.
norm when there's only 55 million people doing it worldwide?
Well, when big tobacco take over, mate, because then they'll thrust it down every cunt's neck.
That's where my mindset is. Like we see vaping as very much the norm. We do as vapers see it's norm, but there's another. There's 55 million people vaping. There's 7.6 million, a billion people in the world.
Yeah, but that carnal vapes, the smoking number 1 billion. So there's 950 million people smoking. Well, if you just say there's a billion smokers stroke vapors and 50 million of vapors and there's 950 million smokers, you've got a hell of a lot of fucking change to be made to get that to become even a split 400 million, 400 million.
Yeah, because we sit here and a lot of people will do this and they'll be like, vaping is at the top of its game. Vaping is nowhere near its top of its game because there is so many more people out there to go to start vaping. We still got over 900 million people to try get from smoking to vaping. It's like we're only starting this journey. We've been on a long journey. Us as vapers have been on a long journey, but the actual vaping industry and vaping as itself is very much a fucking baby, and it hasn't affected. You know what I mean? It's affected 5% of a billion people. It's affected 5% of that billion. It's fucking crazy to think. Just mad. Just I sit there, 1 million smokers, and there's only 55 million vapors, and that's expected by 2021. And how big the actual industry is, and the monetary value in the industry, and how small it still is. It rocks my world because I think vaping's got so big in such a short space of time. What's going to happen in the next 50 years when we're not here, or 100 years and we're not here? I don't know if Paul's bros.
So if you use some, my internet's gone on Tom's internet.
I'm back. We're back. We're back. We're back.
My internet's glitchy as fuck. Hear me, Tom?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Was that you?
It's you. It's definitely you that's frozen.
Was that you or me?
I think it was you.
No, but you'd froze my side, so
We both froze. You froze on my
says
side and I
it's
froze
probably
on
me.
your side.
Yeah. If of the billion, yeah, you'd gone off more. The smokers are I would suggest that the value of that 5% is probably only 1% of the revenue of that 50 million people.
Yeah.
Against 50 or 1% in revenue, because obviously cheaper than smoking. For me, vaping is always about mouth to lung vaping. I know there's different styles. Say,
Oh.
the industry's on its own. Am I back?
You should be back, yeah. That's better.
Mate, we've all got a lot of work to do. What it sort of does for me is just reassures me that still that business vaping is the right way to push the business, and the hobby side is a part of what we do. It certainly never has been and never will be the be all and end all of what we do, because figures there prove that so many more people are potential vapers, so they should be there getting converted.
It blows my mind. It just absolutely blows my mind to think that the industry is where it's at, and like there's so many more people to be like not affected, but to be knowledged by what vaping is and how far vaping can go. And you know, as I say, it's still very much in its infancy. You know, if we class it as a baby, it'd be fucking 1 year old. It'd probably be 6 months old. Do you know what I mean? If we classed it in life terms, it's very, very young. And to think that 1 billion people still smoke around the world is mind blowing. And that vaping is very much at its freshest at where we are. Literally, we can look at the market, and we said it last week about the products that are on the market. Anybody can start vaping tomorrow. Absolutely anybody, and you can literally just get the device and it works. Before it wasn't like that, and to think the madness of a 1 billion people still out there buying cigarettes is crazy, and the monetary value of that is fucking insane. If you think they're buying 1 pack a fucking day and how much money people are fucking making, and we're told as children cancer fucking kills and cigarettes give you cancer, and we've got something out here that's a lot healthier and proven healthier, and there's still people out there that need to be touched. It's kind of like it's a reminder that we've still got so much fucking work to do. It's unreal.
We had a dickhead outside our shop on Monday saying to customers as they come in, "Don't vape, it's going to kill you, it's worse than cigarettes." Now, obviously, I'm at work 5 miles away, but had I been there, I'd have punched him. I'm not even going to lie. He's absolute sausage. I don't know who he is, don't know where he came from. I bet went out and fucked him off in the end, but these are the sort of dickheads that you're dealing with. So he's either from another vape shop and he doesn't want him to come into our vape shop, or he's fucking works for bastard big tobacco.
Do you think we are working against sort of like the system, as we would call it, to try and get the word of vaping out there?
You know what? I think in an industry combined, we don't do enough to promote vaping, and I think because
as a stop smoking thing, or just we don't do enough to promote it as a whole.
I just think generally, because of the type of people that started these companies 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, me included, the James Burrs, the Taz Deans, the Cooper brothers at Ace of Vapes, and all the other good reputable vape shops that are out there. So when we started, we all started with a reservation of where this industry would take us personally. And I think, by and large, 99% of us, it exceeded all of our expectations as far as the value of the businesses. So on that basis, we didn't need to do anything because it just self-perpetuated constantly. And I think now we've got to a point where I feel like last year was a weird year, but it was a good year for us because I still believe that anyone that's dropped out over the last 12 months has given us some more consistency. Touch wood, and I will. We've seen growth at both of the stores in the last 4 months, and consistent growth as well, which combined with some shops shutting around us. We're still converting new people from smoking to vaping, although that's not as it was obviously at the start, because everyone that came in was a converter. And I just think now it's time for us, who are the industry, to start propelling the industry. And that's not about promoting endless mods or death wish mods or whatever that is. It's about actually, for me, promoting vaping, and vaping being something that stops you smoking cigarettes. The hobby side is there. The hobby side will always be there. It was always a tiny percentage of what we've done, although it was the biggest percentage of Facebook. Therefore, because that is not what it was, the people on Facebook consider the industry dead, but anyone that's got a shop will tell you that it certainly isn't dead. I just feel like we should be doing some sort of national campaigns that aren't necessarily related to shady vaping, evolution vaping, brays, etc., 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 but about vaping. Now, I don't know how we can do that because TPD prevents us from doing it, but there's got to be something we can do to beat a drum to convert people from
I know
smoking.
there has been a project set up, and I'm going to speak to you probably this week or whatnot, and it's called Project Fresh, and they're doing an advertisement about getting towards smokers rather than vapors. We actually did an interview for them at Expo, and that's hopefully coming out very shortly. And obviously, we spoke about our experiences and stuff like that, and they're sort of aiming towards smokers and vaping. But I've also wrote down on my sheet as well. Obviously, we are very restricting in our advertisement of e-cigarettes and vaping. Do you think there will ever become a time where sort of advertising of vaping will be the same as tobacco? Like they used to be all over F1 cars. They used to be all over the place. Like I can remember people walking around with Lambert and Butler fucking umbrellas. Do you know what I mean? I can remember advertisement of them.
It's all about John Player Special. Black and Gold was on every single sporting event it sponsored. The Embassy World Snooker Championships. Everything was cigarette based, and that didn't make me start smoking. Actually, I smoked because I thought smoking was cool, and I smoked Benson Edges because my mum and dad smoked Benson Edges, and so I don't know how influential for an industry that is so massive in tobacco. I don't know how influential it is on making someone change brand of cigarette or even start smoking, if I'm being honest. I think the thing about advertising vaping isn't about advertising Vampire Vape, AF Juice, Golden Wire. It's actually about advertising the benefits of vaping over smoking.
Yeah.
And then letting the consumer find someone who's reputable enough to take them on that journey. And if that's us, brilliant. If it's not, it's someone else, hopefully, who's reputable and can take them forward. But I just don't think there's enough awareness out there. Yo, Mr. Bradley Jojo Suddocks, you sexy man. I don't think there's enough awareness out there about the health benefits that we know of to this day, as far as vaping is concerned. That's like that bit in the Men in Black film when he drags the chair over. I just feel like most of the industry got consumed in hobby sub-ohm vaping. And I'm thankful that our business, obviously our business became more because of that, because then it became about because we started doing liquids, because we started doing wire and other things. But actually our core business was always the shop. It was always made to long vaping. I've always been a made to long vapor. I concentrated hard on it. And actually I believe that has enabled us to continue doing what we're doing in life, of the hobby side of it going so on its arse. And for me now, and I've said it millions of times, Tom, for me, it's still about converting someone who smokes into someone that vapes. And if their journey takes them into sub-ohm vaping and back to mouth to lung and into sub-ohm, into swanking, into building, into whatever, if they're not smoking cigarettes, we've been successful. And during that journey, there'll be various things that happen. You'll start sub-ohm vaping, you'll start using sub-tanks, you might start building. Most people now that have gone back to mouth to lung started at mouth to lung.
Yeah, it's just going back to like the numbers and stuff and advertisement, as you say. I feel like it's been stopped, as in the powers that be will always stop the promotion of vaping as vaping rather than companies and stuff. You know, there'll always be something that's even negative about it. But once again, it's like I know that when we say about advertisement of smoking and being on F1 cars and being on the snooker and stuff like that, I feel like that was done to make smoking the norm rather than to promote the brand.
I don't think it promotes the brand. I think it just starts to normalise that brand on the side, around the kids. in the pub, going into the staff room at my junior school, mate, back in the day, and all we fucking, it was like a fucking party in there. You open the door, it's like opening the door to our vape shop 4 years ago when there was a vape meter, and all the fucking teachers just fucking fag-ashing inside the staff room. And it was the norm. And actually, during my lifetime, I've seen going from being able to smoke in McDonald's with them little fucking 4 ashtrays to not being able to smoke in McDonald's, to being able to smoke on aeroplanes, to not being able to smoke on aeroplanes. And I can remember segregation of non-smoking and smoking parts of restaurants. And I can remember the uproar, and I can remember my dad saying, fucking ridiculous that is. Who the fuck's going to want to go and sit in the pub and not smoke a cigarette? Well, actually, every twat who don't smoke, you prick. That's it. Was that. And now, by the time I stopped smoking, I was uncomfortable smoking in restaurants where you could smoke in a designated area before the smoking ban come in. I'd always book a table at the smoking part of the restaurant if I was booking something for lots of people. But actually, I'd never just sit there fucking smoking my head off, because I was always a bit like, well, there's people around here. I know there was people with me that didn't smoke.
Yeah.
Actually, I grew up where it was acceptable to do that. It was acceptable to fucking get the kids to light you a fucking cigarette off the gas floor and pass it to their mum, because the mum couldn't be off the fucking setter. And that's the era that I grew up in. And yet, by the time the smoking ban come in, I'd already consciously stopped smoking in certain places because I knew I didn't feel like it was acceptable. So change can happen. Change certainly happened with smoking. And I think what we said right at the start of this whole conversation is that there's something to be said for a vapor who vapes like a prick.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that not only the retailers understand what they're selling and who they're selling to, but try and educate the vapor to be respectful and not have that attitude of, yeah, I can vape in Iceland if I want because I can. Because actually, you wouldn't have done with a cigarette, so don't be such a fucking dickhead.
You're right. Yeah, we've got plenty of years to go. We've got lots more to do, and I think it's very achievable. I just feel like we've been put on certain blockages by the powers that be that don't want it to be like that, like the bad press and stuff like that. But we've still got to carry on with a positive mindset, because we've got so many people to affect and change. On good news, though, the British Heart Foundation are supporting vaping, but they're demanding more research. Are we at the certain point where there needs to be more research done in vaping, or is it just going to be a time thing? Is it we're going to do more research over time? Because, as I say, it is a very young industry. So we're not going to see like research going, boom, we'll put this all money into research, let's find out vaping, because they've done it with England Health.
The thing for me is that we've done research that says the here and now is 95% safer than cigarettes. For me, every year, some more data should come out and say, after 10 years, this, after 11 years, this, after 12. Because I've said it to you, I've said it on the live feeds. We might get to a point where at year 10, every cunt starts dropping down dead.
Yeah.
Because it's 95% safe for the first 9.5 years, and at a certain point of inhaling fucking VG, kills you. We don't know. But we do know because we're more than 10 years in. But for me, it's about that long term. It's about saying that over a 10-year period, for someone that, I mean, there's lots of people out there now that are vaping that have never smoked. And obviously, the press on that is, oh, you've made people vape that wouldn't have even smoked. What we've done was we made them start a different choice. We made them start vaping instead of start smoking, because 99% of them would have started smoking. So you've actually got people out there now that have only ever vaped in their life. They've always been non-smokers because of their age, because they've never vaped, smoked before, whatever it is. We've got people out there that are, and I mean, I know there was some research done that says dual using was worse than just smoking.
That's it, yeah.
So that's the important stuff for me. It's being able to say to a customer, I'm not trying to be God and tell you what to do, but just be mindful that the effects of tobacco and vape are worse than just one.
Yeah.
Our customers now, it's been proven that after 10 years, I don't know what this is, but something. And then every year be able to update our customers, to be able to update the people and say, this is ongoing studies that is proving that continuously people's health is improved. Certainly, for me, the biggest one is more the ex-smoker.
Yeah.
Compared to someone that's still smoking along that same period, that same timeline. So he smokes 20 cigarettes a day. Used to smoke 20 cigarettes a day. For the last 7 years, he's vaped. This is the advantages. This is the disadvantages. This is the smoker advantages, disadvantages, whatever they might be, if there is any advantages to smoking. And I'm sure there's not. But that's what's important, is long-term time study, because I don't know what the long-term effects of vaping is when I'm selling it. I can only, when I first started, we had no data to tell customers. So I used to say, I don't know, mate, you might be killing at the same rate of fags, but you'd have more money in your pocket and you should feel healthy, because I would. That was my selling mantra, because I didn't have fuck all else to do. So when that study come out and said 95% healthier than tobacco, to me it was just like a eureka moment to be able to say to people, this has been done by Public Health England. This is what they've said. This is the reports that they've done. This is the data. Go on their website. I'm not making this up. It's important that them studies are carried on for me. Continue, and they must be doing some sort of continuous study somewhere. They've got to have got a pool of people that they're watching, monitoring, testing, doing, to be able to say 15-year results, 20-year results, 25-year results. But I don't think they should ever stop, because it's important that we can be sure that what we're doing is not only helping in the short term, but healthy long term.
Yeah. Talking of that, and the British Heart Foundation, which is obviously a big foundation. Canada this week are doing their non-smoking week, but the Canadian doctors are refusing to advocate vaping and saying to only use NRT. What do you think to that? Do you think they should be supporting vaping? Because I was obviously lucky to never ever use an NRT, and vaping was always like the option for me to stop smoking. You've used NRTs. Do you feel like NRTs is very much a thing of the past, or do you feel like they're still used more than vaping is?
I feel like nicotine addiction is not the biggest addiction in smoking. Personally, I honestly believe that more people are habitually addicted to smoking cigarettes than they are addicted to smoking nicotine. And the reason why I say that is, if you use a nicotine patch, you put nicotine into your system, but it doesn't stop you clucking for a cigarette. It stops you clucking for nicotine.
Yeah.
And if it was just nicotine that your body needed, that you're addicted to, you'd be able to take a nicotine tablet in the morning with your coffee, and you'd be sweet all day. But the truth of it is, you want something to do with your hands. And for me personally, the most successful thing I ever done, mate, was Champix. So that's not even nothing to do with nicotine replacements. It's actually an antidepressant that they realised made people stop smoking. And I think I've done 9 months on Champix without having a single drag of a cigarette. But across the years, I've tried nicotine patches. I've tried some sort of fucking dodgy plastic cigarette where you put a capsule in and snap it and then you fucking smoke it, but no vape or smoke came out. You were just inhaling like a nicotine powder. That sort of works to an extent, because you're still fucking about and doing what you would normally do with a cigarette. I tried hypnosis. That worked for about 6 months. But then I still say that all these things are still the mind over matter thing. And you've still got that same mind over matter with smoking versus vaping. You've still got to want to give up smoking for vaping to work. And again, I've said it many times over the years. We've had people come in the shop that are adamant they want to stop smoking, and they're always the most successful. And the bloke that gets dragged in by his non-smoking wife to take up vaping are the least successful because they just don't want to stop smoking. And as an ex-smoker, nothing vapes as nice as a cigarette for me personally. And if I sat here and said it did, I'd be a fucking liar. However, I'm back in a good place. I've not had a cigarette for 13 months. I'm enjoying vaping. I have days where I think I could smoke a cigarette, but actually it's not because I'm craving a cigarette. I'm craving a cigarette in a certain situation where I would have always had a cigarette. So, and that's the same as the fat kid that always eats the cake, even though I've got the gastric band. It's a psychological thing that vaping doesn't break that. You've got to try and break that yourself. But I just think that vaping gives people the best opportunity that are habitually addicted to smoking over nicotine addiction. And like I said before, I can vape a 6 milligram, and providing I'm getting some sort of coarseness on my throat, so I'm fine with the 6 milligram. I don't vape any more liquid. I normally tend to have a 12 milligram because that's what gives me the scratchiness in my throat that I need to replicate the smoking that I used to enjoy. So, but I do believe that if I could vape something that was zero nicotine, with the same feel of vape on my throat, I honestly believe I could smoke a zero. I could vape a 0 milligram. So that's more that's why I think so successful, because it actually, and again, when I used to, people say to me, how long have you give up for? How long have you not been smoking for? And I used to say, well, I'll just try and think about, if I use the doctrine that I've just changed brand of cigarette to this, that's literally how I convinced my brain that I was still smoking. So you don't need to stress about not having a fag because it's still there. Let's just pretend I'm smoking a different brand that tastes slightly different, but in essence, it does the same job.
Yeah. Do you feel like, in the same breath of sentence, do you feel like if we're saying nicotine replacement therapy is placed on, pharmacy walls, and you can go and buy it, you don't have to get it prescribed, you can go and get tablets, you get sprays, you can get all these sort of things you can get for nicotine replacement therapy, do you feel like vaping products should be placed next to these nicotine replacement therapies? Do you think it has a market for that?
100%.
To become the norm.
100%, it has a place to be promoted where you would promote any other product that is designed to stop someone smoking cigarettes. That's my honest opinion. In the manufacturing all of the nicotine replacement systems, or big tobacco, there's big tobacco companies that manufacture NR2, because they know it's the least successful way of giving up smoking. And actually, it's been proven that vaping is the most successful way of people stopping smoking long term. And I still think that's because, in essence, you're still smoking. Psychologically, your brain still thinks you're smoking. Your hands are still doing what you did when you smoked. And if part of that is building your core, re-wicking your core, fucking about, it's messy. Because, mate, I used to smoke 60 cigarettes a day, but I could sit on a PlayStation for 4 hours straight and not smoke a cigarette. Now, I don't believe I could do that if I was absolutely addicted to nicotine, because I'd have been clucking halfway through the Nürburgring lap and I'd have had to pause the game and have a cigarette. Now, truth be told, I used to pause the game to have a piss, and because it was paused, I'd have a quick fag. But I'd fucking race my way through half a fag, doubt it, and I'd be back on my game doing what I do. I flew to Jamaica on a 9-hour flight. I never got off the plane clucking for a fag. I just had one because then I was allowed to smoke again. But I weren't pacing up and down on the plane saying, I need a cigarette or I'm going to fucking blow up the plane. It's just what it was. And I wasn't stressing about flying back because I couldn't smoke my fag. I just couldn't smoke it. I've been in a meeting at work for 10 hours where I couldn't smoke a cigarette. I'm not sat there clucking for a fag.
Yeah.
I'd have one the second I got out, because that's what you do when you're smoking. You've not been able to have a fag. But I'm not sitting in the meeting thinking, I need a fag, I need a fag, I need a fag, I need a fag. But when I got out, I had a fag because I could have a fag. And even back when I was 20, I used to say, I'm not even addicted to fucking this nicotine. I'm addicted to smoking. I'm addicted to doing what I do when I have a fag. I'm addicted to going for a shit and getting my fags, having sex, having a fag, eating my tea, having a fag. That's what I'm addicted to. I'm addicted to that routine. Of habitually smoking when I can fucking smoke them. And vaping completely cured that for me personally, because every time I would have a cigarette, I had my vape.
Yeah, it's very much, as you say, the routine. Like people who roll cigarettes are the ones that who now vape are the tinkers, that mess about, that do this, to do that. Because they want to do something with their hands. They're missing that essence of sitting there and fucking rolling 50 fags and whacking them in the tin. They enjoy the building side of things. They enjoy playing, and that aspect of what you would do when you were smoking, exactly very much the same as when you think of messing around with the coil or re-wicking and stuff like that. It's very much similar to what you would do with your hands, and I think it's all joined, massively joined. I just feel like the pressures we have in vaping have not been. We always go back to it being the norm. We think it's the norm, but it's very much not the fucking norm. It's still not accepted in society as vaping is a thing where that's what I do instead of fucking buying Lambert and Butler.
That's because there's still more of the older generation that were smokers alive than what there is new people coming into smoking stroke vaping. That will change. It has to change, because as when my kids become 16, if they're going to smoke, the likelihood is they will now vape. 17, he's vaped. Chloe's 21, she vapes. And it's like that generation of people. I mean, Chloe's a perfect example. She's 21, so actually, for more than half of her life, vaping wasn't even a thing. And I mean, you said earlier, 10 years vaping was mainstream. I'd even argue the toss that only 7 years vaping's been mainstream, when shops started opening just to sell vape products.
Yeah.
And that was when it started to become the norm. Mate, I can remember vaping. I was 8, so I started 9 years ago. And I can remember, I'd say 90% of people that see me use an electronic cigarette ask me, is that wacky backy, mate? They'd not seen it, they didn't know what the fuck it was. But then I can also remember, within 12 months of opening the shop, and obviously not just me, but within that 12-month period, lots and lots and lots and lots of shops opened up and down the length and breadth of the country. The amount of people that you were parked next to at traffic lights that were vaping, it coincided with the ban on company car driving, where you couldn't vape inside company cars. So we used to have so many long-distance lorry drivers that came into us to buy a vape just to use in the cab. And they were still smoking when they got home. They smoked when weekends. They smoked. Work on Monday, away for 4 nights, vaping non-stop. He said, naturally, then when I'm in, I just end up vaping all week, and I'm just smoking weekends. And some of them were like, I've vaped all week, I might as well just vape on the weekend. But actually, it became the norm that I just seen people everywhere vaping fucking vapes, fucking ego battery pens with fucking diamantes stuck all over them and all that sort of good stuff. I mean, that was sort of 12 months after the shop opened. That's where we was, and now it's just not unusual to. I'm not saying it's considered the norm, because there's still a lot more of the older generation that have seen way more smoking than they have vaping. But it's not unusual to see someone vaping.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't believe it's frowned upon the same way it was even 5 years ago. And most of the people that frown upon it are older generation that go, oh, you might as well just smoke a cigarette instead of inhaling that shit. And that's because of sub-ohm vaping, because it gives the impression that all that smoke has got to be worse than a little bit of smoke coming off a cigarette, because they don't know the difference between vaping. And that can only be changed by educating people. But the new generation that are coming up are just more educated. Anyway, they understand it more. The internet's there, they know how to use it, they can research, they can look up, they can find, and it will become the norm.
So realistically, if we're saying it's going to be the norm, it's going to take 25 plus years for it to then come the norm, isn't it? I don't think you can rush it being the norm. It's going to just take time, isn't it?
I would at that point, though, in 24 years' time, it will still only be comparable to a cigarette. It'll ever get to bigger this first, because I just think it'll just be a case of there's two options: you either vape or you smoke.
Yeah.
And depending on how society changes, will really determine, becomes more and more frowned upon. Therefore, vaping naturally takes a more normal course to be considered the normal thing to use over a cigarette. I don't know. I don't know what time will bring, mate. But I do think it will become more standardised for vape to be there. And you've only got to go to any senior school and park outside at fucking 3:30, and all the kids that used to walk down smoking, vaping, but there's still a big percentage of people that are coming down there smoking cigarettes as well. Also, just because they're younger and these technologies.
Bear with me a second. I'm just going to take you from the stream and put you back on. Hold on. There we go. I think you might be back now. Are you back?
I'm back.
I think so.
I'm back.
You are back, yeah. You're back.
Good.
Yeah, I just think, as I said, it's going to be time to show whether it's accepted or not. But I feel like not the kid, I can't say it, like the generation that's now coming, as you say, your youngest two will only ever see you vape. So then that becomes the norm to them. So then, like we saw smoking, they see it as a norm, and I think that's where it's going to take time to gradually. But then also in my mind, I'm going, but are they going to try stop it before it gets to that, before it does become the norm? Because once it becomes the norm, it's unstoppable.
I don't think it is unstoppable, though. I think there'll always be the two. I mean, my mum generally smokes cigarettes, although she's got 652 fucking vape kits off me, but she generally smokes fags. But Ava and Mia, they don't frown upon a smoker. They're not going, oh my God, they're smoking cigarettes. Because my mum just smokes. And to them, smoking's normal. It's just we choose to vape, and that's what I was trying to say. That actually, I think at some point, it'll just be a case of there's two things you can do. You can vape or you can smoke, and some people choose to vape and some people choose to smoke. And I'd imagine by 25 years' time, cost-wise would probably be comparable to do either. So it's your choice to choose which one you want to do.
Yeah. Do you think vaping would boom prices of cigarettes up, or either? Do you think that's the way it's going to go? Because obviously of the taxation and stuff like that.
I think they've proved over the last 15 years that they can charge whatever they like for a packet of fags, and people will still smoke.
Yeah. Proves it with numbers, right? Just proves it with how many people smoke.
But then, like I said last week, I literally gave up smoking because of finances, not because of health. I was 24 stone, mate. Health was the last thing on my fucking agenda. If it was, I'd have been fucking 13 stone. So, but it became £650 plus a month to smoke cigarettes, which is disgusting.
Mm.
And I still think that's a thing. I still don't think that enough people, because I'm not adverse to converting someone purely on finances and then letting them reap the benefits of the healthier thing that they become, because I know 100% I feel healthier vaping than I do when I smoke.
Yeah.
And I know that because during my period of 9 years of vaping, there's been times where I've dual used, I've smoked some days more than I've vaped, and actually it starts to show its toll on me much, much quicker than I expected it to. And 13 months of not smoking a single drag of a cigarette, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell that. I know that I'm not smoking in myself. I can tell. So if to convert someone to a vape, you have to try and convince them the benefits financially of not smoking cigarettes over vaping, and a byproduct of that is they become healthier then we've still won that battle. I'm not adverse personally to like saying, look, all health aside, you're going to save money.
Yeah.
And if you can find if you can find a vape, a tank, a pod system, a cartomizer, a liquid, a nicotine strength that gives you everything you desire from a cigarette, as close as fucking, why not try it and just see how you get on?
Yeah.
And mate, even to this day, it's easier in some senses to financially convert someone on the basis that if you smoke 20 cigarettes a day and you come to my shop at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning and you buy a kit for 25 quid, you've only got to not smoke until dinner time on Monday and you've paid for your kit. And if at dinner time Monday you decide it's a heap of shit, throw it in the bin and buy your fags. That's got to be worth a punt of anyone's money to try and get off cigarettes. Because that's literally what I used to say. Like so many people used to. I mean, it's not so bad now because more and more people accept that vaping's an alternative, a genuine alternative to smoking.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of the battles we had in the early days was people thinking it was an absolute fucking pop-up shop selling shit and we'd be gone in 6 months and then they're stuck with a kit that they've spent 50 quid on or 20 quid on or 30 quid on or whatever. So they'd come in and say, I don't even know if I can afford to buy this kit. And I used to say, well, how many cigarettes a day are you smoking? 20. So how can you not afford to buy the kit? Because obviously, I'm still going to need my fags. No, that's the whole point, mate. You don't. So if you're smoking 20 a day, back then it was £6.50 or £7 for a packet of cigarettes. We used to do a kit for £24.99 with a bottle of liquid. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 4 days. Buy it Saturday, use it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. If you're not happy with it by the time you get to bed Tuesday, throw it in the bin, buy your fags Wednesday, and you're 3 quid better off.
Yeah.
And if you can see until next Saturday, you're going to be 22 quid better off. If you come and buy another bottle of liquid and a call next weekend for a £5, you're going to be 45 quid better off week 2. Week 3, you're going to be 45 quid better off. Week 4, 45 quid better off. Week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, buy a new battery, new tank, and a new coil, and a new thing. And you're still 20 quid better off that week. Week 9, 45 quid better off. Week 10. And that's what we used to say. We had business cards that had a breakdown of cost savings, whether you smoke 5 cigarettes a day or 60 cigarettes a day, with increments thereafter. And it was just more than anything, getting people to just take that concept of saying, well, they'd come into the shop Saturday morning and say, oh, I don't know what to do, man. I've come to buy fags, but I bought from around the corner, but I don't know what to do. And I'd say, look, buy it. Buy the kit, suffer it until Tuesday, then throw it in the bin if you don't like it. And I'd say that 80% of them people would come back the following Saturday and say, do you know, I ain't had a fag since, mate. Fucking brilliant. I love it. What flavours have you got? What? The only thing is I'm not getting enough of a throaty. Okay, let's try an 18 milligram. Back at them times, let's try 24.
24,
see if you need a 36.
Do you think that's a forgotten mantra from all of us? I'm not saying, like, 'cause obviously that still goes on in shops today, and obviously still goes on in our shop, still goes on in a few shops. But do you think to say to somebody you are financially going to be better off, you are going to save money, you are going to have a lot of money, is forgotten? Or we just focused on the health benefits? Is that where a lot of people are hitting just that rather than financial benefit as well?
I think most vape shops sell on the health benefit now. And then obviously, I mean, us personally, genuinely, we sell on both.
Yeah.
That you've got cost saving, and a byproduct of you saving money will also be feeling healthier. And then when I can remember like 3 years ago when Subomi was at its peak, and you'd say, we used to put a post out on the Shady Vaping page saying £1,000 a year. My savings was more rent on my shop, mate. £6,000 a year savings from changing to vaping, £6,000 a year. And when I used to say to someone, if you sold 6 fags a day, potentially you could save £6,000 a year. All the hobbies vapors, oh, you fucking dickhead, I'm spending fucking £300 a week. But that's because you've chose to become a hobbyist. I spent £1,000 on a remote control car last Christmas. Way more expensive than buying a Lego set for £12.99.
Yeah.
I was doing something different. Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's horses for courses. All the time my hobby vaped, it was actually for me. I enjoyed building, I enjoyed designing the mods, I enjoyed trying different coils, different fucking wicking techniques. I enjoyed all of that. And I paid the price to do that. And I enjoyed having nice equipment, so I paid a price for that. But all through that, I was still using mouth to lung to stop me from smoking cigarettes. And that money that I was saving from not smoking cigarettes was funding my hobby. It could have been that I did. I mean, a lot of people give up smoking and fund a holiday pot or a decorating pot or a new car pot or whatever they choose to divert that saved money into. Mine was, actually, I quite enjoyed this mechanical vaping. I quite enjoyed building. I enjoy fucking about. I'm going to do that. And then you start getting the bug and I'm spending £1,000 on fucking mods. But only because I weren't smoking, because I was made to lung vaping, that I could afford to do that.
Yeah. It's definitely something that it is definitely should be focused on with a lot of people. You'd say to anybody they're going to save money, the first thing there is like, yes, fucking I can get a bargain, I can do this, I can save money. You say that to anybody, they're going to be like, yeah. And it's I feel like that would convert a lot more people because it did convert a lot of people back in the days. It wasn't about the health benefits, as you said. We didn't have that information to state it was healthy. We were there literally saying, you're going to feel better because we feel better. But at the same time, you're going to have to fucking go to Jamaica next year because you're going to have enough dough to fucking do that. You're going to be able to go to take it out.
We have a Spanish bloke coming our shop who came in the very first Saturday that we opened. And every now and again when I'm in the shop, I'll see him. And he always stops and speaks to me. Proper nice bloke, and he vapes and his missus vapes. But I can remember him coming in when we had our 1 year anniversary in the shop. And he says, we've been on holiday twice this year with what we saved up because they both started vaping that same day. And actually, they literally chased the mouth to lung game. So bearing in mind, it probably took 12 months, maybe 18 months from when we opened the shop for sub-ohm to become a major thing. So for the first 18 months, it was new versions of CE4s coming out. It was Kangatech launching better kits. It was Aspire doing better things. And they chased that game saying, you know what, even if I spend 50 quid on that kit, I'm still saving. We're saving £100 a week between us on cigarettes or £150 a week. And every Saturday, he used to come to the shop. Well, he used to get to Iceland across the road. Every Saturday, he'd get to Iceland, do his Iceland shopping, come to the shop, buy his vape. He says, and then when I get home now, I put every penny in the jar that I would have spent on fags this week for us. Every week, he said, because if I don't, that money just starts getting consumed somewhere else and it just becomes part of our normal spending and we see absolutely no benefit for it. And he came into the shop on the anniversary and said, mate, 12 months ago, I stopped smoking. And we've been on holiday twice and we managed to buy my daughter her first car, all out of this pot. And to this day now, 7 years on, he still puts his weekly money in the pot of what he would have spent on his fags. And when fags went up, he changed the amount of money he put in his pot because he said if I was still smoking, that's what I'd have to pay for a packet of cigarettes.
Yeah. It's totally different. You know, as you say, he was literally stopping to stop smoking. A lot of us got the shiny-itis, and that was our fun, the hobby side of it, and that's where our dough went. We didn't lose any more money because we weren't spending any more money that we wouldn't have spent on fags. No, you know, you might have been paying £1,000 on a mod, but you would have spent that over a year.
We had a lot of people spending money in our shop that they would never have spent on cigarettes in a week. We had people
maybe not in a week, but over the fucking year they would have done.
No, but what I'm saying is they were coming in and spending £150 every Friday night.
That's when it becomes your hobby, though, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. They're doing that.
Saving money from not smoking cigarettes. And they're the people that ultimately lose sight of mouth to lung vaping, start doing 150 quid a week, 200 quid a week. Him and his brother were the most competitive two people I ever fucking crossed paths with. And whichever one got in the shop for, has our brother been in? What's he had? What new kits have you got? Oh, he's bought this fucking, the Relin new or whatever it was, the 300 watt triple battery thing. Oh yeah, I need one of them. What tank did he have? Have you got a better tank? Have you got this? Have you got that? Oh, they were fucking in competition with each other. But both of them ended up smoking again after about 12 months of spending hundreds of pounds on hobby vaping. Because during that period, they lost sort of mouth to lung vaping because nobody ain't got time for that because it's about cloud, bro.
Yeah.
And I swear, the amount of times you say to me, do you not need any 10 mils? No, I don't use it no more, mate. I only use this. And I was like, just be mindful that one day you're going to need a cigarette. And that's when your mouth to lung should be at hand. It should be there for you to use and use it like a cigarette.
Yeah. And now they're back on fags, yeah.
Well, most retailers, mate, didn't give a fuck. Because they're going, you know what, they're coming every week, they're spending 200 quid each, £400. That's from 2 customers every week without fail. Our shop on a Friday was ramming with people from Jag and Land Rover. Every Friday, ramming with them, all spending 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 quid each. And I used to be sat at work with my PayPal, just literally going, ching, fucking 45 seconds later, ching, 45 seconds, as quick as we could bring sales through the till and get people out of the shop. That's how quick my PayPal was fucking flicking.
Fucking
Crazy.
Fucking, we'll never get back to them days, but it's more about growth now. And at the end of the day, I think that hype boom has definitely gone, but it's generating customers and smokers that will carry on vaping as total. You know what I mean? I feel like that was where we were all spending money wildly because there were new things out every day. We're now at a steady pace in the industry where everything is steady, whether it's product coming out or the vapor. But we still need to create that sort of excitement the same way. Maybe consumers aren't consuming the same way they are, but for a new vapor, learning about vaping and seeing it still has to have some sort of excitement through it, which will drive them to be the hobbyist vapor, which sometimes is the end goal. But I feel like a lot of people, as you say, smoke and then go to vaping through financial rather than, I just want to quit. I didn't want to fucking quit. I enjoy a cigarette. If you took my vape off of me tomorrow, I'd get back on for cigarettes because I enjoy vaping and smoking. I'd enjoyed it.
On this show, I lose my signal. How fucked up is it?
Yeah, you're back.
No, literally, when I push
I think
my lap, I'm losing my signal. I mean, I said on this show about 12 months ago that at some point things will go full circle and the hobby side will come back in because so many people are starting vaping. But actually, it's only been in the last 6 months that I've really thought that it won't ever happen again like that because there isn't nothing new and exciting coming out. There isn't nothing that will spur that whole excitement of, fuck me, have you seen this? I need one of them because the new sub-ohm tank isn't that much dissimilar to the sub-ohm tank they've got, to the one that they had before, the one they had before that. The new mod is still capped at 300 watts or 217 or 236 or whatever figure they pretend, so it's slightly more watts than the last one that come out. There's nothing that's ever going to come out that's groundbreaking, like we've seen groundbreaking changes in the industry. So I don't believe the hobbyist community side will ever be what it was before, but that's because the industry's different. That's because everything we need, and pretty much now they're tweaking stuff. They're not changing it. They're just tweaking it slightly. They're just changing the airflow a bit. They're making it not as leaky. They're making the flavour a little bit better, easy to fill up, easy to rebuild, easy to change the call. Hence, like I'm.
What happened then?
What happened?
Fuck knows, you just like jumped off the stream for some reason.
I tapped my screen and it's touch screen, but I don't know what.
There you go. You tapped it because you're off the stream.
Yeah, so I just think actually they're making it a little bit easier to use, a little bit better to use, a little bit less leaky, a little bit easier to fill up. But groundbreaking, no, not for 2 years. Nothing. It's just it is what it is, and so on that basis, it's just about being able to stand in our shop with our hand on our heart every week and say, "There's never been a better time for you guys to try vaping because the equipment this week is better than it's ever been." And every time the big companies bring out their new motor lungs, they are better. They full easier. Their flavour cores better, or battery life better. So we can stand there and say, you government that's ever been available for you to stop smoking cigarettes. And actually, for the kit that you're getting, is probably 50% cheaper than what it was 7 years ago. For a much better product that's going to last you longer, give it a try. See how you get on.
100%, 100%. And if anybody's out there that want to give people a bit of advice about vaping and stuff like that, point them in direction like these live feeds and other people doing live feeds out there, and get their information to them, because we've obviously spoke a lot about starting vaping this episode, so this will probably be a good thing for people to watch. So we're coming up to the end of the show. We've got 15 minutes left, and I do want to jump into something that I did find, and I did mention this earlier to you, Paul, about a status you did put up. It's not status of the week, but it is something I want to talk about, because obviously we have discussed it in the past. The whole trolling thing of obviously Kobe Bryant, it's going off vaping. Let's just go off vaping for a minute. And your status that you put up about obviously trolls and stuff like that. What was your thoughts when you saw all this going on? Because obviously we've discussed in previous episodes about, we've had your stories about bantering and trolling before it was trolling and stuff like that. What was your main annoyance? Because I saw it all over Facebook, all over vaping groups, that people putting stuff out about this. What was sort of like, to put your perspective into things, what was the main reason that you said what you said?
My main gripe was not even the memes, not the gifts, not the statuses, because I've seen some that were funny. I put that in my status. I've seen some memes funny. Completely inappropriate 12 hours after your man's died with his daughter, but still funny, because I get when something's funny. I've said it before. I've heard jokes about stillborn babies that are funny. They're not appropriate to sit and towel down at the maternity ward at the fucking hospital, but they're fucking funny. Take the joke apart, they're clever. Whoever thought of it's got a fucking funny sense of humour. Completely inappropriate sense of humour, but funny all the same. What annoyed me is some of the wankers that I've seen posting are only posting purely for them to get some attention. They're that needy in life. They can put up a post about their kids, they put up a post about their business, they put up a post about this, a post about that, a post about whatever, and he's getting no reaction. And they're like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll put up a Kobe Bryant joke, that'll be funny. Oh, that'll get people. And even when I read some of the comments, and everyone's gone, that's a bit inappropriate. Yeah, well, you know what I'm like. You're a fucking prick, mate. That's what you're like. You live with your mum and dad. Right, let's get this fucking. You're a grown man. You live in your mum and dad's back bedroom. You're an absolute fucking sausage. And if you've got to that point in your life at 30 odd years old, and bearing in mind, Tom, I was trolling on groups that I'd made as a troll group. I was trolling with like-minded people. We were having like next level banter that if my mum just happened to come in, because it's not her thing, but actually the groups that I started 8 and 9 and 10, 11 years ago when Facebook was fresh was because I am who I am. I've got the sense of humour that I've got, and that's only funny if you're in a company of like-minded people. Like I said, yes. I've been in a room with a group full of lads and told I've got a joke about a stillborn baby. I'm not even going to say it because it's fucking shocking, but it's funny. Now, I could be telling that to a group of 10 lads, and 4 of them's missus might have had stillborns for all I know. They might come over and punch my fucking head off me. So these aren't jokes that I'm just fucking banging out at kids' fucking birthday parties just for shits and giggles. You've got to understand the company that you're in, and that's why I finish the status by saying it's the reason why some people can be complete arse and get away with it, and some people just look like twats. And it's because they don't even. I always understood what I was doing. I told you before, and I put it on the show when I had the 50 Shades of Burn page. Sometimes I pressed the fucking return key, knowing I was going to create a shitstorm, but I knew it'd be a good shitstorm. I wasn't even particularly asked about what I was posting. I was more asked about the reaction I was getting out of people. But for me, that's been done. That extreme level of trolling people just to get a rise out of people has been done to death. Now, maybe it's because I'm a bit older. I'm 10 years older. I've had fucking 4 kids in that 10 years. Maybe my vision on life is different. But I still enjoy a good troll, don't get me wrong, Tom. I still enjoy winding people up. That's my sense of humour, is baiting people.
Just shows up, yeah.
And that still shows on my statuses to some degree. I do enjoy getting a rise out of people. I enjoy going against the grain just because I know it's going to annoy people. And then I can have a little bit of an argument and a fucking debate with people about it. Sometimes arguing against my own principles just because that's the mood that I'm in that day. But to post something and then know it and then comment on your own post about, yeah, well, I didn't realise I had this many snowflakes on my friends list. Mate, you're a fucking dickhead. Absolute fuck. You are a sausage. And actually,
yeah, there's a
I don't know. Maybe,
there's a huge thing, a difference between bantering. There's a difference between bantering and just basically being damn right fucking just horrible.
I think there's a time and a place. And honest to God, right, my honest thoughts about internet is, if you see something you don't like, scroll past it, because the world's full of all sorts of people.
Yeah.
And as much as some of the stuff I posted, it was that extreme that I didn't understand why people were getting so serious about it. Because it was literally, for me, it was absolutely obvious that I was just being a twat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I would like literally take it to a level that I probably wouldn't even do now, because I'm 10 years older and 5 years wiser. But even back then, I used to think as if that geezer's getting triggered about what I've said. And it's blatantly obvious that I'm posting it just to trigger someone.
To get his reaction, yeah.
The thing was, because it was so new, because the internet was so new, because mass people getting together in one place was so new, it was just easy to fucking trigger people. And I used to see other people trolling, and instantly I would know that they were trolling. And sometimes I'd join in with the troll, knowing that they were trolling, just to wind up the person that was triggered.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that used to make me laugh. I used to enjoy that. Like I said, it weren't necessarily the post that I was posting. It was the reaction of the post that I was sort of craving, I suppose. I don't know if craving is the right word, but it's certainly, I used to have many hours of enjoyment just pissing people off.
Which is good anyway. But I feel like that for me it was meant to be funny. Like, you had your own page. It's not out in like people joined that group and knew it was what it was about. To then blatantly put something on you all and just do it for a reaction like that, I just think it's too far. And when there's a kid involved, I'm a bit like, yeah, it's a bit too far.
So, mate, honestly, I've never ever until I seen a news story about rest in peace Kobe Bryant. I had to Google him. Didn't know who he was. Never heard the name. No, I don't follow basketball, but I know who Michael Jordan is. That's the only, and I know who fucking Shaq is. But they're just, I don't know why I know who they are. Probably because there must be more, I don't know, more internet famous. I obviously know who Michael Jordan is because he was like the next level fucking geezer of his time. But I don't know who Kobe Bryant is. So I'm not sad that Kobe Bryant's dead. Well, I'm not sad that his daughter's dead. Actually, I just find it quite sad that a daughter was so proud of a dad that she was with him, and he was in a position to be in a helicopter taking her somewhere, and they never got home on the night. That to me is sad. Doesn't matter who he is. Doesn't matter whether he's worth fucking 100 million. Huh? Yeah. I mean, he was his own helicopter. Yeah. And I'm saying it's like the amount of people that I've seen say, yeah, well, fucking bought his own helicopter. He had too much money anyway. And I'm like, are you that? Is your own life that shit? I discredit someone that's amassed £100 million fortune.
Yeah.
Actually, when I've looked into this week, because I didn't know who he was, has spent millions of his own money doing good for people that had fuck all.
Yeah.
Millions, and put people on the map and put people into jobs and put people into housing he spent his life trying to do good because he felt that he was lucky in life and he got all the stuff that he probably should never have deserved. And it's like everything, mate. The same people that I see trying to troll, and I say trying to troll because they're not good at trolling. They actually just look like wank. Mate, I can put a post up about fucking Emmerdale some days and I'm trolling people. And I know people will get triggered and I'll fucking play the game in the comments and have a little banter and then sometimes say, oh, I'm fucking joking, man, mind your neck. But I see the same people like trying to be extreme to get that noise out of people. And actually, when all's said and done, they're sad. They've got nothing. They're jealous people. They fucking hate the fact that other people have succeeded in areas where they've failed. Their life's worth nothing. They've got kids who don't fucking see them. They still live with their mum and dad. They haven't particularly got a job. And 9 times out of 10, they're sniffing cocaine like it's going out of fucking fashion. And as a whole package, their life's a bit shit.
Mm-hmm.
So to make themselves feel a little bit better, they spend the whole day putting every other cunt down, looking for reasons to why it's funny that a geezer's died with his daughter. It doesn't matter whether he was in his own helicopter or some other cunt's helicopter. I just find it sad that there's a mother somewhere that's lost a daughter and a fucking husband on the side. They've been together, mate, since they were youth. Yeah. They've got 4 kids, I think, and all of them off the same dad. They've been together from youth. She lost a husband and a daughter in one shot, done. And for me, that's sad no matter who it is. It doesn't matter. I can honestly say, right, and this isn't me being fucking gay, and if anyone's watching is gay, I don't want you to start saying, oh, you fucking homophobic prick. But the last few weeks, genuinely, I wouldn't say I've felt like emotional to the point where I'm sat in my office crying. I don't know whether I go through stages where I properly miss my dad and all them other things. But like even watching the likes of The Voice, well, this sounds so stupid, but you know, like when someone's on The Voice and they're singing and they're absolutely smashing it, and their mum and dad's at the side of the stage, like so proud of what they're doing. I swear, I'm not sat there crying, but you have to get I feel
a lump.
And I think some of it's because I genuinely hate the fact that I can't ever remember my dad telling me that he was proud of me, and I like to think that I've achieved things since he died that he would have been proud of. But I just think how wicked that moment is for the mum and the dad and the child, or the mum or the dad singing and the child's at the side and all them things. And then I just see other people on the internet and I think, you fucking sad, lonely motherfucker. You've got nothing in your life that drives you apart from trying to discredit other people.
Yeah. Which is, Right, and we're gonna end on status of the week. This is how you write a fucking status if you want fucking bantering. And the people are sat out there fucking saying, "Oh, is that about me? Is that about me?" This is how you write a fucking status. Status of the week is: some people's Snapchat stories are mad. Here's one of my kids. Here's one of my dog. Here's another one of my kids. Here's one of me with my tits almost out. Here's me dinner. Here's the kids again. Here's one of me flu in the bath. Get a bastard grip, Becky Mitchell. That is how you write a banterous status, so people can stand there and go, "Is that about me? Is that about me?" That's how you write a fucking banterous trolley status. That is the one. That's how you do it.
You know what though, mate? Genuinely, it all comes back to the same thing, man. Very quickly, because I'm going in 2 minutes, and if I cut off in the middle of it, I'm not being ignorant. My program starts at 10 o'clock and I'm out of there.
And by the way, just before you do it, just let everybody know it out there, it's not Love Island +1.
I was watching something last night on telly about self-harming. Now, I've advocated for the last 2 years publicly that social media's pretty much broke a lot of people, and I stand by that. I really believe that mental health issues in the main are driven by social media and the need for people to be needed, wanted, and on par with people that they're not. But they're also trying to be on par with someone who's not really on that par because they're pretending to be something else now. And there's a whole lot of people that are like living a whole fake life. And then you've got people aspiring to be like them, and they're living a fake life, and everyone's living a fake life, and they're scared of bumping into people out in public because they're not really that person. So then they've got anxiety and they can't leave the house, and it's just broke a hell of a lot of people, in my opinion. But I was watching something last night about self-harming, And I swear, it triggered me worse than the fucking Kobe Bryant statuses, mate. I was like, they're 14 years old and they're self-harming, and their first thing to do is to put a picture of it on Instagram of their scars.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, listen, stop begging it more with your fucking little scratches on your fucking wrist. Have a go going that way down your fucking arm if you're going to be a smart cunt with a razor blade. But if you're really not that happy with life, fucking knock yourself out. But scratching your arm with a compass and then posting it on social media like you've tried to cut one of your limbs off, you're a prat. And actually, the mums and dads are there going, oh God, they talk to a hell of a lot of people online, and most of their friends are self-harmers. They've got no friends. They just know all these imaginary twats on fucking Instagram that are also scratching themselves with a compass. And actually, take the fucking phone off them. Don't let them on social media and see how quickly they fix.
Stop, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
On that note, it's 10 o'clock.
Right.
Peace out. Don't self-harm.
Everyone.
Take yourself out properly if you're going to do, man. Stop begging it.
Oh, you're begging Mitchell's out there.
But, yeah.
Take it easy.
Go that way. If you go that way from there to the fucking straight up, you ain't even posting it on Instagram. Simple.
Night, everyone. Thanks very much for everyone watching. See you soon. Peace.